Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Y'all are brewheads? Yeah, we brewheads. So pour a glass of craft beer, we can do this. Yeah.
What's good, y'all? This is Cee, certified brewhead.
And I'm Tiffany, liquid enthusiast, alongside Barry the Malty Poo.
Yes,
He loves a non-alcoholic craft beer.
Loves it. And
Yeah.
a pup beer.
Pup beer. Oh, they do have pup beers.
Yeah.
We really need to try to get them from somewhere.
It's probably just like, I bet it's not even sparkling, because I don't even know if those could have
Yeah, I was like, what can it
sparkling.
be in? Yeah, I don't think they're allowed to have sparkling. We need to talk about that,
We
though.
need to talk to
Maybe it's
some
just
brewers.
rice, water, liquid rice, or something like that.
Yeah, like I
rice
said, a
soaked in
brewing with
water or
garlic. I
something.
wonder
Yeah.
if you can eat. Can they eat bread?
Yes.
They can. So
We had
maybe
to
it
give
can
him
be
bread
barley.
when he swallowed the rock, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Barrington. And welcome to episode 22 of Beer Digest Podcast Link Up series. This is the 6th week of Link Up.
It is.
It has been an epic series, as they all have been, to be honest. There hasn't been any
Wonderful.
misses. Beer's super interesting this series. We had a whole bunch of styles that we hadn't had before. We had a fruited goza from Willowbold. We had the IPA from Foam, an English bitter from Allura, a rye IPA from Mascot, a nice standard hazy, well, not standard, but as you would expect, hazy IPA from Toltec, and now Wheat Stick, something. We had one crispy before, I think.
Yeah.
Because crispies are a whole thing that you need to really, really plan for, right? So it's not the easiest thing to be able to do that. So we are very excited. Not only, this is not any old crispy boy, this is from one of the most renowned breweries in Ontario for crispy boys that personally I only discovered in depth this year, and I'm very stoked to do that. So guys, please welcome Calum from Sonnen Hill in the building. Woo! Welcome, my man. Oh shit! I muted you. I'm sorry.
Saying thanks for having me, and thanks for including me in Link Up.
Genuine pleasure, and thank you again for being part of the series, man. It's like we're saying off air, like I'm a huge fan, and to have you involved in this and to do what you do best is an honor, and I'm super stoked for this one. So I want to get right into the beer. Like we always say, we wait for these opportunities. It's much more rewarding to drink the beer with you sitting here. Oh, we've got the camera.
Oh, shit.
Okay. This is the... yeah, Tiff's going to grab the camera because it's super important. So we can still talk about it in the meantime. Do you want me to hold him?
Yeah.
Yep. So look at that. Beautiful label. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. So tell us about the beer, bro.
So it's Hoppy Pils.
Yes.
It is brewed with a couple different Pilsner malts. It's hopped with Saphir, a hop that we really like, in the kettle. And then we dry hopped it with Citra and Nelson.
Oof.
Yeah, we kind of wanted to make a beer that was a lager. Like, we make a lot of lagers, but it's a style that I've been kind of thinking about making for a while now, and this was a good opportunity to do that. It was like just something that's kind of bridges the gap between the IPA drinker and the lager drinker.
Absolutely. The Saphir hop, I've heard of it, but I don't know a lot about it. Is that like a Pacific Northwest type of thing?
Yeah, it's no, it's a German hop.
German hop, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like a newer hop variety, I think, in Germany, like maybe the last 20 years or so.
Okay.
But it has like a little bit of an old world thing, but it also has a little light fruit. But we really like it. We use a ton of it. And yeah, it's got like a nice oily kind of body to it as well. But
Right.
I just really like the aroma of it. But in this beer, you're not getting a ton of that hop. It's like kind of dominated by the Citra and the Nelson.
Gotcha. Which is like such a dope combination of. I'm gonna write that down real quick because for the review, Citra and Nelson is like fantastic. Like I almost feel like do you really capture the? I guess we'll find out in a second. But do you capture the Nelson profile in a dry hop in a beer like this? Does it still come through like it does in an IPA?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Like we didn't go crazy with it, but I think the dry hop's like close to like 10 grams a liter or something like that. Like it's a decent amount. But yeah, I think at the colder temperature, like you are able to still get a decent amount of character from the hops. And
Okay. That's. Did you choose those two for any particular reason, or was it just you're a big fan of the way that they express?
we use in like all of our hoppy beers, we use Citra and Nelson.
Okay.
We got some really
Why
good
not?
Nelson from through Joe at Willibald, and then
Nice.
we got some good Citra from Dominion City. So
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Good peoples.
yeah,
Oh, this looks beautiful. Okay, so it's pouring a little. Hang on, unless it hasn't settled yet. Touch opaque, wicked foamy head right there. Oof, that nose
Beautiful.
is impeccable. Look at that color.
Yeah.
It's like a bright lemon yellow.
Yes, exactly that. Smells great.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. I love it when you can smell it from the can. Sorry,
Yeah,
we're
while you're bored.
mildly delayed just because of the. I forgot to bring the camera. Idiot. Yes, but look at that, mate. Oof. What's causing that color as opposed to like I've had a bunch of your other beers the last few nights? What's causing the color difference? Is it just the malt combo?
Yeah, we added a little bit more malt than we usually add, and so like there's a little bit more grain compared to what we usually do.
Okay.
And then we sometimes add a little bit of wheat, which is a little lighter. But yeah, I think it's just a blend of Pils malt, and yeah, we tend to see a little bit of we used a Bohemian Pils malt, like a Czech Pils malt,
Mm-hmm.
and with this one malt, we tend to see like a slightly darker color. They must kiln it just a little bit darker.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Oh man, this is amazing. I need to sip this. Cheers, bro. Cheers.
Cheers.
Get that in you.
Nice.
Phenomenal. Oh wow. I feel like I haven't had like a hoppy pilsner in a while. Like I really feel like they aren't as prolific as maybe they were. I feel like maybe
Nice.
people are leaning more into the straight up and down stuff. So this just feels like I'm like, yo, I haven't experienced this flavor for a while. This is phenomenal, dude.
Thanks. Yeah, it drinks kind of similar to a pale ale, but
Yeah.
it is with a lager yeast, and we have lager yeast on hand with making all the other beers, so it kind of
Right.
made sense. Yeah, I think that colder fermentation too, like helps not blow off as much of the volatiles as well.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Dude, fantastic.
Yeah, it's really great.
Really, really loving this. This is like the perfect type of hoppy pills. There's like just a little touch of that grassy bitterness too in there. You obviously get the white wine gooseberry kind of vibes.
Yeah.
Like some other like kind of sort of random tropical fruit that kind of comes through. Oh man. Yeah, this is glorious.
Thanks.
So is this the first hoppy pills that you've done? Like you were saying, like you were thinking about doing, so you've never done one before? Or you haven't done one like this?
We haven't done one like that, but we have in the past made pale ales with lager yeast, but we still called it just a pale ale.
Right.
But yeah, this one was a little bit different. Like that bigger alcohol, like we don't usually make lagers upwards of 5%.
Okay.
So yeah, that was like
5.2.
something different than this, and we
Right.
also finish it. Usually we're trying to finish the lagers really dry, and this one we wanted to keep some like a little bit more sweet character in there.
Okay. What do you do to achieve that?
Just mash a little hotter.
Okay. That sort of makes a
Okay.
difference. Interesting.
Oh, that gets more sugar?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
No shit. You can tell we ain't brewers. Okay, that's dope, man. What's the difference then, without going too much into it, what's the difference between this and say an India Pale Lager?
I'm not sure. I haven't had an India Pale Lager in a long time. Like maybe the bitterness would be a little higher. Maybe the alcohol too. Like this is only 5.2.
Right.
So I kind of wanted to keep it in the pills kind of ABV range, but yeah, I think it works.
Yeah, man.
That definitely works.
Works
Yeah,
perfect.
I'd say it definitely works.
Yeah, this is spectacular. And the so obviously the beer is killer. The label is super dope.
I
So
love the label. That's what I was talking about on Instagram.
I saw
to
that,
whoever I
yes.
was commenting to. I love the
Yeah.
QR code inside the P.
yeah,
That's so sick.
super creative. I got these for people who are listening and not watching. It's like bright pink label with the yellow link up, the link up colors, and the P. The top part of the P and the link up is the QR code. Talk us through this, dude. I mean, obviously it's pretty straightforward, but any thinking behind it? I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, my friend Adam, he does all of our labels and a lot of our design work for posters and whatnot. But he did the design for this one, and I sent him through some of the stuff. So he does all of our stuff, and he focuses on different typefaces for the labels. So changes that up, changes the colors up. And for this one, he went with like, I told him about Link Up and sort of the description and the initiative, and he found a black type designer, and that's where he got the typeface from. And then
Love that. Okay, that's cool.
That is super cool.
So attention to detail, made sure to use like black owned or black design typography, basically.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So it's an original typeface that he sort of procured from another designer.
Yeah, you like buy them from the designer usually.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, dude,
I love that.
like,
that means even more
so
money
perfect.
technically went in the pockets of a black designer. We didn't even know that. That's awesome. I love that. That's really cool.
That's like honestly, bro. And this is the whole. Like, I know we kind of almost say this every episode, but I feel like every brewery surprises us with some cool fact about that. Like that is like so thoughtful, and I feel like even if we were involved in this more, I don't even know if we wouldn't have come up with that. Like that is just. Yeah, I never considered anything like that. I didn't know that's how it worked, to be honest. I love that, bro. I love it. And it's just like, even just the small thing of just having you said his name was Adam?
Adam, yeah, that was his idea.
That's his idea? Love that.
Yeah, I didn't say anything about that. He just knew that the QR code needed to be on there, and I think he read that like they have to be a certain size for them to really work. So he kind of just worked it right into the label.
Sick. Dude, yeah. I love that. I love that even more now. That's really cool, man. Very thoughtful from top to bottom, as anticipated. Thank you. Very, very sick, dude. Very much appreciated and well noticed. All those little small elements. It's makes our day. God damn it, I love it. Amazing, bro. So, as far as like this type of thing, the mission to diversify craft beer. We know that if it's only one bunch of individuals, you can only go so far. So obviously, beer is for everybody. That's the entire point here. So what was it specifically about sort of this mission and Link Up that made you want to get involved in something like this?
Like, I think that it's just totally necessary for the industry to get a little bit more diverse. And if nobody's doing anything about it, then it's never going to happen. So I was like really excited when you asked us to be a part of it. So I think like as soon as you asked for us to be a part of Link Up, it was always going to be yes. So it was really it was nice, and I'm honored to be able to make a beer for this cause. So yeah,
that's dope, man.
Yeah.
I also want to put out there as well that you guys reached out to us to put a job on the job board, which means, and that's why I reached out to you. Like I was going to at some point for a regular BAOS thing, but if a brewery is thoughtful enough to, find us on find us online and be like, hey, that makes sense. We want to diversify. If we could advertise our jobs on their job board, then that makes sense. So to us, the reason we asked was, you obviously clearly already believed in that mission because you were thoughtful enough to ask to do that. So I was like, hey, if you'd be down, we'd love to have you in the series. So it felt like it was going to be a nice fit. So I'm glad to hear that from your side. So for people who don't know, you guys are based in Caledon, Ontario, which is How far from Toronto? Like an hour, probably. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yep. Hour west
Did you
of
tell them
Toronto.
about the time we thought we were going to Niagara and then we were in Caledon?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't. Well, one time. When was that? Like 2018.
Yeah, it was like we went to that. I think it's called like the spa on Caledon.
You know how there's like a spa
there's
that like
big spa, like popular spa there.
And the brand owns a hotel in Niagara on the Lake, and it's sort of like
Yes, that's
like,
why.
that's
so
why.
we thought we were part of the Niagara on the Lake thing because we had no idea and we just didn't think to look at a map.
Yes.
We were just like, cool, like we're gonna be like right beside Niagara. It was my birthday and my mom won like tickets on CHFI, and they were just like, cool, like we get to stay at the spa for 2 or 3 nights or whatever. And then when we were like, okay, cool, like let's enter like back 10 cellars or like things like that, we're like an hour and a half. We're like, what's going on? And we didn't realize it was like Brampton, basically, like closer to Brampton.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like close Orangeville.
That was the town we went and had dinner in because we were like, oh, we can't drive to there because that's pretty crazy. So we had no idea. So that's how we learned about Caledon. I've been back a couple times for Badlands and been meaning to come see you guys as well. So you're in an area, for people who don't know, it's essentially, is it fair to say it's kind of like mostly like farmland or sort of farming communities-ish?
Yeah, and like there's some different pockets of Caledon, but it's farmland and then like people that are wealthy with big homes and stuff like that.
I noticed that.
Yeah,
there's some nice houses.
Some nice places around there that like they got farm whatever, like big acreage, and they just build these like mansions on there. I guess because the land probably isn't crazy expensive, or is it expensive and they're just wealthy?
I'm not sure. Everything's always changing so much.
That's a fair point.
Yeah,
particularly real estate.
I'm sure it's not cheap.
How long have you been open? Because I was like, was that a place we could have gone and we didn't know?
Or... Oh yeah, good point.
We've been open to the public just over 2 years.
Okay, so we didn't miss out. Okay, you didn't exist then.
Yeah, and I feel
so we only had a bottle shop for about 2 years.
Okay, dope. So in that area, it's mostly farmland, which typically in the more outside of cities, it tends to be a little more monoculture, from what I've seen and from what I've heard from different folks. Talk like how's the what's the demographics as far as whether it's employees or whether it's the tap room, like the drinkers and customers. Like how does that look for a brewery that's based in an area that you are?
Well, the area is predominantly white, but we are close enough to the GTA that I think that we do see a good mix of folks that come by the brewery. And then, we are close to Brampton and Mississauga, and we see a lot of people from Toronto come up. So, yeah, I think we see a good mix of folks. Like it can always be better, but it's nothing. It's not just like one type of person. But yeah, and then staff wise, we haven't hired too much we're currently a team of 3, but in the summer we were a team of 5, and it was I think we have a pretty good mix on the team. We have a part-time staff member that was with us over the summer, just doing some seasonal taproom stuff. And he's actually, I think, I don't know if he actually sent a message, but I think he was gonna send a message to you all for some of the Cicerone certification.
Ooh, please do.
Beautiful.
Please do. If he hasn't, I mean, you can tell me after the name and I can check. But if he hasn't, please give him a nudge. We would love to, because that helps him get a leg up. That's what we're here for.
Yeah,
that's dope, man. So then, the people that you're seeing in the tap room, and this is what's always curious about, particularly I guess the ones that are coming from Toronto and GTA and so forth. Are they? I know this is very qualitative and a very observational question, but are they typically like super beer nerds, or are like who are already just like, oh, I'm going to Sonnen Hill this weekend because they make the best Crispies, or are they like people who are looking for who may be casual beer drinkers, or they're familiar with craft but kind of like maybe in the gateway era, and you you make stuff that may be slightly familiar to them because of, they're mostly crispies. I've had IPAs from you too, though, that are very balanced, very approachable, that wouldn't scare people off, right? So, like, are you seeing any sort of patterns or like the types of individuals that are already finding you?
Yeah, like I think that we do see that mix of people, but I would say that there's not a ton of like there are beer nerds that come by and they're like into the beer for sure, and but we just get like a lot of regular everyday drinkers that are interested in it, or some local people that just live around the corner. And um, yeah, I also think that we don't just see, like, I know that our industry is like predominantly male, but we see a good mix of women and men to the brewery as well. So I think
That's good.
like maybe just because it's like easy drinking, and we don't try to like get too um, technical with like descriptions and stuff, and try to make it as approachable as possible. I know like our price point might be a barrier for some folks. That would be, I think, one thing that like would detract some people for sure. Like it's not like the cheapest beer you can get, but I think like if people like good quality stuff, and like if they drink lager, and like this is just like a well-made lager.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I've heard there's I've heard from people talking like LCBO, which I guess is a general, across the board idea of what most people would typically feel comfortable paying. I feel like outside the LCBO, maybe if you go to a specialty store, that it's going to be nothing's going to be cheap, and that's the point. But like, there's like what's the shelf, dude? Jeff from town was telling me the other day.
Because the shelf space was reducing.
It's not about shelf space. It's about like the upper limit of what people feel comfortable paying. So as soon as you hit, what was the number? I think it was like,
is it $4?
I think it's $4.
Okay, I don't know. I feel like that's like the one.
Yeah, he was like,
yeah.
he had two beers that were similar to the LCBO, and as soon as one was $4 and one was $3.95 or $3.80 or whatever it was marginal difference. Like the way that it outsold the $4 or $4.15 was so ridiculous that they had to drop the price. So I can imagine that would potentially play a part for maybe someone unfamiliar with it. But then at the same token, if they are familiar with quality, if you go to wineries, that if you go to Toss or something like that in Niagara, you're going to be paying, or Stratus or something like that. Like the prices aren't cheap at all. So it's, there's definitely something to be said about that. That's interesting. So as far as like attracting those people, how do you think? And I'm asking this kind of for other breweries who may be watching who are sort of in a place where, they don't necessarily, maybe they don't get what you're fortunate enough to be, like further away. There's like a destination kind of fun thing. People can make an afternoon of it or whatever. And maybe there's other breweries that might not have that. But how do you think that people find out about? And I guess when I say that, I'm specifically probably referring to the more diverse groups. So are they like, obviously, I don't know how you would directly advertise to a group anyway, but like, how do you think they're finding out about what you're doing? Like, is it Google? Is it like maybe they have a friend who's into beer and they go, hey, if you want to, this weekend we should go out to this brewery, then we go here and do this and blah, blah, blah.
I don't think we're doing anything special for that. I just think that we're just not doing things that could deter folks. Like we're just trying to like keep it as simple as possible, not play any music that's like offensive or like extreme in one way or another. And same thing with the beers that we're making and the way we like talk about the beers. It's not supposed to make anybody feel like they don't know what's going on. Like you don't need to know much. Everyone knows what it like everyone can taste it and have their own opinions. But like, yeah, we just try to keep it pretty standard, and then create like a nice atmosphere for people that anybody likes, that like if they want to get out of the city and stuff like that. But we're trying to get better at that and try to create a little bit more of a community on site and stuff like that. But that's something that we're going to really work on this year, and just like try and just try to create a little bit more of a community. We're not 100% sure on how to do it, but yeah.
Hey man, at least you're thinking about it, talking about it internally.
And I was thinking about the point that you made about the music. Like one time I was in this brewery, I can't remember which one, but it was like such intense heavy death metal music, and I was by myself, and I was like, this is so awkward. I was like, I just feel like this is so weird.
In Canada or in the States?
In Canada, yeah. I was trying to remember what brewery it was. And like I know everybody loves like a lot of people love the like heavy death metal. Like when we're in the back of the brewery, then we hear that stuff, which I also was never exposed to. But there was one time I was sitting in the tap room and I was drinking and I was by myself, and then I was just like, this is I think you and Brad were coming to
meet you somewhere. Okay.
And then I was like, this is so awkward. I was like, I feel like this is so awkward.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know, it could do that. Like you could feel like so out of place and weird. So I think it is cool to be cognizant of that and like, you know, have that reflected so it feels more equal grounded, you know, for everybody, because that is something I could say from personal experience that will throw you off for sure.
Yeah, that could also be a thing you turn off maybe different age groups. Like maybe if you're sort of in the boomer age group, for example, anyone like 50 and up maybe wouldn't be the most comfortable hearing that, who you know didn't grow up with that, you know, hearing that extreme type, or even like really hardcore hip hop or something, like on the opposite side.
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably a little much for some folks, and I like that there's a attention to detail for that, both with something small like the music. I feel like no one's ever brought that up before, and then on top of that, the descriptions. And I have noticed, because I check every can that I'm drinking, and I feel like you've made this really, it's very simple and straightforward. Like there's nothing too crazy about what you're writing on the can. So I'm like, this is a German Pilsner. Enjoy. I'm like, sick. All right, let's go. You know, it's I like that. I like that approach. I think that's really important, and it's language, and it's sort of that intentionality behind every single element of a brewery that makes it everybody feel welcome. And it's almost like for diversity beyond just ethnicity, like, you know, whether it's age or gender or anything like that. You don't ever want to make it feel like a bros club, or that it's just for people in their 20s or something like that, because I mean, you could, but I don't really see the business sense in that. Like,
yeah, exactly. No, there's no business sense in that at all. It's like you make an exclusionary club.
Yeah,
that doesn't allow
same
you to
thing.
expand.
Yeah, which is
anti-community. Or it's exclusive community.
Yeah, probably.
But that's not what we're for. Not for exclusion in any way here. So
no,
that's the whole thing.
Not at all. And as far as like, say when you put out job ads, speaking of all of this type of stuff, the type of people you get, obviously, like, you know, it sounds like, you know, I know you're sort of small, haven't been around for too long, so you're growing the operation, which is great that you've got, you know, you need more people in the summer and such. How's the talent pool of the people applying? Like, are they locals? Are they from maybe, you know, around here, like, you know, Kitchener-Waterloo, Hamilton, Toronto? Are they diverse a range of individuals, whether it's age, gender, ethnicity, and such? What's that look like?
Yeah, I think we've had a good mix of people that have applied for our jobs. Like, ever since we've only been hiring for just over 2 years, but like we have always done like Indeed and stuff like that, and we post on Instagram, but people are applying through Indeed, and then now we're using the Link Up site, and we also have like a permanent link that people can click and see.
I love that.
What jobs we have available. But yeah, I think we get a good mix. Like, we've always had a good mix of gender at the brewery, so I think that also when people see that too, like, maybe it's a little more approachable for other people. I don't exactly know, but I mean, like, that's what we've seen, and I haven't seen anything in any one direction that, like, it's only these people that are applying. Like, I think we get a good mix for the applicants for sure.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I love that you got the single link on the website too. I think that's great.
Yeah, we're gonna try and embed it in our website. Have it we have it through an external thing, but we're gonna put the link at the bottom of the page. But we don't
That's
have
a
any
good idea.
jobs available right now. But once we do,
Do you put like a little careers or job section? They can click that and go off. Yeah, that's a good idea, man. It's just like instead of it's good for us because now we can permanently have that link on the plug job board, so that
yeah,
it'll always be there. So you don't even have to tell us now when there's a new job; it'll just pop up. So I'd
yeah.
highly encourage brew. I think there's probably I can think of 4 breweries who do that right now, you included. Um, I think it's a real smart way for breweries to do that because it makes it easy for people like us if you're going to put it somewhere else. And I'm sure there's multiple other job boards like us where, you know, where you can put it, but at least we can just leave it there, and it's just like anyone who pops up will just click on it, and they can just see what's going on at any given time. Obviously, this is a quiet time of year for the industry. Period, being it's December, so it's very quiet. But yeah, I definitely encourage that. So that's super dope, bro. The other thing I was going to ask about was obviously, you know, I find that breweries who are in smaller communities, like where you're at, tend to be almost like more community focused than a brewery in a larger city. Have you guys done a lot of other things like this, like whether it's collab beers or get involved in community activities, whatever that might look like?
We haven't done any community activities. Like I'd like to do more of those in the future, but ever since we had a bottle shop, we've been doing something that like I really I really liked when I was getting into beer, like Maine Beer Company and in the States and stuff, and they do the 1% for the planet and stuff. But
Mm.
I wanted to find a way that we could incorporate something like that into our business. So, like, since we've had a bottle shop the last couple of years, like when people buy a 750 ml bottle, we donate $1 from the bottle to like we rotate through some different organizations that are doing work in the area. So either in the area or Ontario. So the end of every month or every other month, we just make a donation. But I'd like to get more involved rather than just like sending money to them. But
That's
yeah,
great,
it's
man.
so far we've been able to do a few $1,000 a year to places.
That's very cool. I mean, that's just like that's perfect though. Like whether you know your community is like there's local, but it's also you know provincial. It's the most likely. You know, there's obviously going to be visitors from elsewhere, but excuse me. Um, that's really giving back immediately. I love that, and it's like it's a good ethos for any business to have. Really, like to try and sort of you know contribute back, and I guess that fosters more relationships and um, you know builds just you know you never know what can come from that that'll benefit both the place that you live and work and also you know the individuals that can directly you know benefit from it. It's very dope, man. I love that. um was there anything else we wanted to touch on? I feel like that's really we got some really good stuff here, particularly the information. Like I said, I really wanted to just get anything that you found beneficial and share that for other breweries to sort of be able to be like, hey, that makes sense, man. If I'm playing this death metal all the time, well, you know, maybe we're only going to get a certain subset of individuals, and I think that's something that's like just not talked about a lot because it's not a terrible thing by any means, but it's just small little incremental things that anybody can do that'll just make it a little more welcoming for people, which I like. Was there any? Okay, the probably last question. Was there anything that you would suggest from someone like yourself who's, you know, I know, yeah, once again, you haven't been open a ton of time, um, and you're sort of getting involved in a bunch of different things. But was there anything that you would suggest to breweries? I think a lot of breweries don't even know where to start with stuff like this, and maybe feel a little nervous or just unsure about what can I do? I want to do something, and you know, aside from doing something like this, like a collab with a non-profit, I know there's other breweries who do those type of things regularly, which is cool. That's not for everybody. Is there anything that you would suggest over and above what we've talked about already that breweries could consider?
I think like there's lots of resources out there and lots of other people have talked about stuff like this on podcasts, or like you can get out there and you can like kind of learn from other people. Like if someone doesn't know where to start, I would just like suggest listening to some other people talk about it. Um, my partner also works at a bigger company, so she's a great resource for like just asking questions about like how a company should behave. Like, not that she knows everything, but I mean like they're a little bit more structured than our industry, and I think that if you know people that work at a bigger company that has a little bit of that is like somewhat ethical, like I think that they could be a good resource to reach out to.
Good call.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I love that. Oh, I had something as you were saying that, and I lost it for a second. God damn it! I hate when I do that. That's what I was. Okay, so that is perfect. Do you have anything else you want to ask?
No, I'm good.
No, this is great, Calum. Honestly, this is great, dude. Thank you so much again for doing this for the
Beer's
pod.
fantastic.
Yeah, the beer is phenomenal. I'm really trying to drink it slowly. Normally I would just crush this, but I'm trying to. The last thing was, where can people get this beer? So obviously they can come to the brewery in Caledon and pick it up if it's not sold out. It's being distributed around, at least I know here in Hamilton that Durand is getting it. Is there, like, what's the general gist of where people can find it?
We have a online store. We've got the bottle shop, and we ship beer all over Ontario. You also, like, on our website, we've got a whole list of a lot of our retailers and licensees that we sell to.
Sick.
So people can kind of see that they might not all have it, but I'm sure if they message them and ask them if they have it, like, they'll let them know. But yeah, we got a full list of retailers on there.
Very handy. Would also, on top of that, suggest breweries do that too. It'll just make it easier for folks who want to pick up your stuff and support. Dude, that's awesome. Stick around at the end. We're just going to wrap this up. I want to take the thumbnail real quick. So I'm going to take a screenshot of the screen. You want to hold up the beer there? There we go. Beautiful.
Let me get the can.
Get the can too. Yeah. All right, ready? Glorious. Calum, where can everyone find Sonnen Hill online, my man?
We only really have Instagram and our website. So either one of those, sonnenhill.com, and I think just at Sonnen Hill.
It is indeed. Yes, that's it. Perfect. Bro, thank you again for everything. It's an honor to have you involved, and thank you for the chat. I think you've got a bunch of great insights out of that, which is exactly what we want. So appreciate you. We'll wrap this up and we'll finish up off air. But guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. If you enjoyed the episode, smash the thumbs up, hit subscribe below, hit the notification bell so you know when the new drops. Follow us everywhere at BAOS Podcast, and of course at Link Up Beer. If you or someone you know is a BIPOC individual and would like to get involved in the program, head over to linkupbeer.org. Fill out the form. The very kind and lovely Danielle will have an interview with you, and we'll get you into whether it's Cicerone or anything else that we can help with to assist your path into the industry of craft beer. And like Calum said, if you want to learn more about what you could potentially do as a brewery, or if you're not a brewery and you want to just learn more about this whole thing, this whole Link Up series, Series 10 on BAOS, if you're on the Apple Podcast, you can just hit Series 10. This is the 22nd episode where we've talked with almost everybody who has participated in Link Up, and there's some really great insights from everybody. So that's a good place to start, but I imagine there's a ton of great podcasts and resources and YouTube and all that stuff where you can find information. So, until next time, y'all, cheers.
Bye.